We are now recording.
All right. Oh, am I just supposed to introduce people or?
Yes.
Okay.
Introduce the council.
All right. Well, my name is Tanya Pula. I am the 4-H
Off, no, stop.
president. Am I echoing? No. You said my echoing? Okay. I can hear myself again.
Easy.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'd like to introduce the Leaders Council. We have Laura, who is our secretary. We have, let's see, Seville, she's the vice president, but she's not in, you can't see her. We have Heather, she's our treasurer. Let's see, who else do we have? Where'd Karen go? I already did Seville. Oh. I've had a really long day, sorry. Sharon is a member at large. Cindy is a member at large. Why can I not say her name today, Rebecca? I knew it too. Rebecca is a member at large. Rachel is a member at large. Did I forget anybody? No? Okay. Hopefully everybody knows Mike. If you don't, Mike is one of our program managers, and Brian's around here somewhere too. He's way over there, but you can't see him. He's one of our faculty as well.
He's a professor.
Oh, he's
Full professor.
professor. Okay, so if everybody could please stand, we are gonna do the pledges. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Kirsten is going to say it for us. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then we'll do our 4-H pledge.
I pledge my head to pure thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living, for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
All right. Oh, no. Okay, so now we're gonna do the extension report, and I'm gonna hand that over to Mike and Brian.
Here. Okay, so as of today, we have, in Pierce County 4-H, we have 140 volunteers that are certified. We still have 15 or 20 that are waiting something. So if your leaders are, when you go into your club roster, if it says awaiting review, they are missing something. If you want to know what they're missing, just email Shelly and she can figure it out for you. We also have 383 club members, juniors through seniors, and 51 Clover Buds. So yeah, our Clover Buds went through the roof this year. The good news is this is 13% above last year. The sort of mediocre news is we are 25% down from 2018, 2019, the year before COVID hit. So to bounce back from less than half in 2 years ago, we're doing pretty good. We're doing a better than a lot of counties. So you should feel proud of yourself. But we don't want to sit on our laurels or stand on our laurels. We want to go out and recruit more next year. So hopefully we can get closer to the 18-19 membership next year. Leaders Council will be having a small animal fundraiser on June 10th at Frontier Park in the Rabbit Barn. The KV and Rabbit Show will start at 9 o'clock. The poultries will start at 11 or whenever the other one ends. There's a $10 per animal fee to enter, and they are doing showmanship and judging. And the judging, I think, is a competition and clinic, if I understood it right.
Mostly clinic.
Yeah, mostly clinic. And I'm sure the showmanship will be a lot of clinic stuff too. This is just a fun show. It's not for points or anything, so. If you have rabbits, cavies, or poultry in your club, I'll let your kids know. It was in Tuesday News this last Tuesday. So they should be getting the information. But let them know it's for a good cause. For those of you that don't know what fundraiser does, fundraiser raises funds for the council, and it mainly generates funds for grants and scholarships.
Is that open to other counties?
Yes. Yeah, that's why I went out to Tuesday News. So hopefully we'll have a good showing. They did a great job last year. In fact, one of the counties, I think, Cavies, used our fun show as their qualifying show.
We're doing it again with Thurston County.
Oh, okay.
They're coming up.
Oh, good. And I know at fundraiser for cats, Thurston County had a good showing at that show too. So at least our brothers and sisters down south are getting the word out for us also. Okay. Fair entry will open on June 1st. Before your kids go into fair entry, they need to go to the fair guides. The fair guides have been totally revamped this year. It should be a lot easier to figure stuff out. It's all in a chart fashion now. And it also has the new superintendents. We have several new superintendents this year. Mostly in the goat department. I think they have almost all but one of their species is brand new, including their barn superintendents. So check before you enter into fair entry. It'll make their lives a lot easier. If they are entering animals into the fair, those need to be registered in 4-H Online before they go to fair entry. They can enter them into fair entry, but at the end of fair, those animals go away. They cross one way, they don't cross back. Before next Wednesday, try and get your families to go into 4-H Online, check their addresses, their contact information. Because once I do the sync next week, anything that is set in 4-H Online as of Wednesday will be set in fair entry. That one's not live. So if you update 4-H Online, it will not change anything in their profile. Our projects, animals, and clubs are live. So if they change a project, it picks it up automatically in fair entry. And the big thing about checks or the addresses is their premium checks. If it's wrong in 4-H Online, that premium check is probably going to go to someone else. So, because fair entry doesn't check if the kid actually lives in that home. So. Okay. Next topic is Give Pulse. Please remember, as volunteer employees of WSU, you are required to document your time. The way WSU documents time for volunteers, and this is system-wide, is through Give Pulse. So you need to keep Give Pulse up to date because that affects L&I also in two ways. If it's in Give Pulse, then L&I kicks in. If it's not in Give Pulse, it won't kick in because you are not at an official function. So if you're at a horse show and you don't record the hours and a horse steps on your foot, if you haven't been entering a lot of times in, L&I can deny the claim. The other way that it's really important is the university pays a lot of money to the state for LMI insurance. And they pay for anybody that's in the Give Pulse system. So we want all the people in the Give Pulse so that we know they're not overbooking or overcharging. So they have a better idea of how many spots of insurance they need to buy.
Right.
Yes,
Did they fix the, so that we can use the mobile app?
not that I know of. I know they're working on it,
Okay.
but unfortunately, it's not a 4-H system. It's an outside company that WSU is using for all their volunteers. But I know they're working on it. They're aware of the problem.
Well, I mean, the other way around, it would just be to drop the, if I could just log how many hours
Right.
and not which hours, then I could use the mobile app. But
Yeah.
if I have to log which hours, then you have to do it.
Yeah, the other way to get around that is create events for your club meetings. If you create an event for your club meeting and it's a regular event, when the event's over each time, it will send you an email. And you basically said, I was there or I wasn't there. If you were there, it records them automatically.
Do you have to create those?
We have to create them.
Can we email Shelley?
Yes,
Did you create one for tonight?
If we have a
No.
recurring event, then Shelley could put it in for us.
yes.
Sweet.
That's the easiest way to get around the mobile app. The other thing with volunteer employees is you are volunteer employees of Washington State University. As volunteer employees of Washington State University, you are the face of WSU. So we want to make sure everybody is setting a good example at meetings, activities, events. We also want to make sure that you are wearing your badge at all the events and meetings. If you don't have a badge, or you need a new badge, email Shelley. She's more than happy to order them for you. These are locally sourced. These are from Harbor Engraving over in Gig Harbor. They are super quick. If she ordered them today, they would probably be there tomorrow. That's how quick they are. So, and the new ones are a lot better than the old ones, the old red back ones, if you still have those. These don't scratch.
Right out.
That's odd. And then the last thing I have for right now, before I turn it over to Ryan, is program Zooms. Program Zooms happen the fourth Thursday of each month. The Zoom link is always the same. I try to keep them around 45 minutes. They'll start with program updates, and then sometimes we'll have programs, specific programs, topics. Other times it's just me and volunteers talking and answering questions. I know Anthony, I actually spent a couple hours, or an hour with him. Yeah. And I spent an hour with another family. So please come, I get lonely. So, oh, also with Give Pulse, I wanted to report what we've done. This is kind of impressive. Since July 1st of last year, you have entered 7,703 hours, which going by the going rate, that equates to the state saving $219,854 if they had to pay you to do what you're doing. So it does make a difference.
Double your pay.
And these numbers are important because Brian and Jim Croft, our county director, when they sit down with county council members, with the head of human services, they can share these numbers with them. And they see they're getting a really good deal for letting us be in their building. So. Okay,
My turn.
your turn.
All right. Let's hear from Mike, the Maytag guy of 4A. Who knows the Maytag commercial, remember? Guys like never fixing machines, always tired and alone, so. anyway.
It's better than being
Just to add on name badges, if you're running an event somewhere that has a lot of open access area, it's hard to control. We're also gonna have badges that you can get from the office that say parent/guardian or helper and a sign out sheet. We'll be doing that with the horse department because they have a big area. And so just so people know that this is part of our program and we can monitor that. Hey, it's gonna be, unfortunately, we have to be ready for extreme weather changes. So if there's extreme temp changes, really make sure and work hard at getting your young people water and your adults. We have seen events where everybody has their own water bottle with their name on it. Because then you could say, let's see your bottle. And if you see one not consumed at all, you know that young person is not drinking water at all. And so you as an adult can go up, hey, you need to drink some water right now, or what are you doing to hydrate? Because we don't want them to get hurt. And also sometimes there are certain events where there's certain rules like long sleeve shirt or long sleeve pants. In real extreme heats, we've been some flexible with those. I'd suggest you call us because I think sometimes you can't because of safety and sometimes you can change that. So that's one thing to be aware of. Cool. Now, the only other thing that I have is, well, two other things. Thank you all so much for doing what you're doing. It's so important right now across the whole world. Everybody's talking about how our young people need these programs. So it's really important, and thank you for doing that. The second thing is part of child protection practice. We work to make sure that, leaders go through background checks and such like that. We have, we're aware of a situation where there's a level 3 sex offender who is putting himself really close to our kids in our 4-H horse shows. So do I have horse leaders here? I think I got a couple. I've got handouts for you of that person. The challenge I have is, number one, I don't know how he's inserted himself into clubs. He is a person who boards horses, and that's a private interaction between those families if they do that there or go to that thing. That's a non-4-H issue. We don't get into that. But we do, and who comes into our private areas. So I'm getting confirmation with the parks about what delineates our area of control in the horse area. With all of that area, there'll be a lot of signs at the next show saying this is a private event. Only emergency and maintenance can come in, no public. So we're gonna be watching that. And then the bigger thing is for club leaders being aware of that person, because I don't know if they're inserting themselves and they may show up at one of your events. They cannot be at a 4-H event. Plain and simple, we uninvite that person. So you have the authority to do that. For the handout for the folks, it actually describes the person, has their picture, has the offense. This is a public document. I have checked with the Washington State Attorney General. I can share this, and the Sheriff's Department said I can share it too. It's public information that we should be aware of. The first page, it kind of cites it's the same RCW about that violation. The second one that we found last year people weren't aware of, there's an RCW, a law that says you cannot leave your child with a sex offender. If you do, it's a misdemeanor to you, to the parent, or to the adult. So as mandated reporters, like I am, like all of you are, if I'm at the show and I see a person there alone, I apologize. My phone's going off.
Brian, is that the person that Mike sent out an email about?
Yes,
couple days
yeah,
ago?
it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So if I'm a show and I see that and that person's alone, the thing about it says leaving a child, it says about in their care. I don't know if child is in the care of that adult. I'm assuming on the side that they are. You make the error in the side where you are a mandated reporter, you're going to call Child Protective Services and then call me and say, this is what I've seen. This person is alone with a child. So I think there's a RCW violation. And then you can also call the sheriff. In the horse department, they're going to activate. If I'm there, Mike's there, or whoever's in charge is going to activate and do a process to deal with that with anybody. Questions?
I'm monitoring the chat and someone's asking if the document that you shared here tonight could also be shared to those who are in Zoom.
Yeah, I'll be sharing it with horse leaders because that's where the concern is right now. But if you have kids in the horse and you want, we'll send it out in the horse, or we'll probably give them out at the next horse board or horse leaders meeting for people. Yeah. So again, it's a tough topic, but we're gonna do what we can legally do. I've had people ask about how to deal with the person. You do not threaten anybody, you get in trouble. So you have to be careful about that. We had that at the fair last year. But the sheriff at the time said people could walk up to him and say, I know who you are, please stay away from my child over here. Because the fair is a different creature because it is a public space, so anybody can go there. So we all need to be aware when we have people in our barns and stuff, we don't know their background. So that's why we watch. We had one year where a employee at the carnival came through and tried to get a kid to go do rides. And fortunately, adults on the ends of the barn saw this and confronted and stopped it. And that person was arrested and I think charged and stuff. So it's just something that happens in our world today. We have to be careful of. All right. And that's all. Sorry, it sounded like a kind of a odd note I'm leaving on, but thanks again for all you're doing. You're doing some great work. Mike, who's up next?
I can,
I was say thanks to Brian and Mike too.
That's you.
I can pimp this up a little because he wasn't able to make the brunch, but Anthony Fay is being recognized by Pierce County government for the 2022 Outstanding Adult Award.
Yay.
And please remember that anybody can nominate anybody for outstanding volunteer awards or outstanding youth awards or outstanding group awards. At the end of the year, probably starting around the 1st of November, the portal usually opens. And you just go to Google Pierce County Volunteer Recognition. And it'll take you right to the nomination site. It's fairly easy to do it. The hardest thing for me is writing up the write-ups, the paragraph. So please do this for me. Because I also miss a lot of people. Because you know the people in your club better than I do. Sometimes. Okay, these are things.
Heather, just a second here. If I remember correctly, it's not so easy to share it's on my computer, so I had to get to the meeting.
You should be able to share
I am.
if you're connected.
All right. Share my screen. You guys don't mind if I stay here, do you? I don't see you. I don't see me.
Can they hear her?
I'm there at the very bottom.
That's, it could be an issue because of sound.
Oh, I can come up there and.
Okay.
Yeah. As long as everybody can see my screen. Are we, clearly everybody can see the screen because I can see it. Okay. Hi, everybody. All right. So for the budget. Presentation mode real quick. Yeah, I don't, it's not me, so. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. All right, there we go. So as of the end of April, because the May has not closed yet, this is our current budget. We have received donations of $836.19. This does not count the fund match, which I will go ahead and go over that. That occurred on a Saturday. The bank doesn't open until Monday, so that deposit was made on May 2nd. We've collected $45 in enrollment fees, Pass-through donations is $137 that we've collected. $2,876.65 in registration fees. A whole whopping $15.02 in our interest. And then 10% fundraisers, we collected $385.66. So, oops. Is there any questions regarding this? We do have our expenses. We've spent a lot of money in adult and youth grants and scholarships, and we've had some other fees that we needed to address. So those funds are seen here. So bank service fees, facility fees, and then of course our grants and for adults and youth.
I need to go over that. My numbers are.
So there are some that occurred in May that aren't on here, so I'd be happy to, but yes, we can go over it. Okay. So Pierce County 4-H Council does hold funds for certain projects, and we currently are holding funds for Know Your Government, Forever Green 4-H, Home Economics, Teen Leaders, Clover Buds, CAT Project, and Royal Equestrians 4-H Club in the totals that are seen here. Any questions? Okay. Super Saturday 2022. There was an update from when this was presented last year. We did Super Saturday with King County. King County did provide us with $500 to help with the funding for that. So our total, we had a loss in 2022 of $624.32. This year's Super Saturday, we did not have a loss. Yay! We actually had a net income of $138.63 once all expenses were paid. Any questions?
Wasn't King County going to be paying for part of this year as well?
King County, because we did not have a loss, King County, with the agreement with council and what we've discussed with Mike, they will not pay us the $500. They're going to do is give us, we have invoiced them for $250, which will be seed money for Super Saturday 2024. Okay. Funds that the council has received for the fundraiser that we had. I received a total of $160 from dogs, $255 from cats, and $950 from horse. Dogs and horse actually still have additional funds that are owed to the council from that. So hopefully I will get that soon, but they need to do that money had to run through their account because it was either checks or credit cards, and they are to issue us a check for the amount. So there is more that is coming, but this is what's been collected to date. Any questions? I'm gonna take silence as no questions.
I've got a question.
Yes.
How does that compare to past fundraisers?
What I was told was the total for dogs is probably the highest amount. Tom, can you give us a total for dogs? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I'm gonna ask. Okay, I don't know that Tom
It
heard me.
was over 2,200.
Yes,
Which is, I looked it up and sent it on my records. And as far back as I have records, there was only 1 year that was higher than that.
correct.
And that was just the dog part.
Yes.
I have records for all of them.
And we collected, and horse also collected a fair amount of money. It's clearly better than it was, more than was collected last year. And then the year before that, we didn't even have the fundraiser because COVID. So it's clearly more than it was back in 2021.
I think cats is about the same as last year.
Yes, it is. So So I do want to thank all the leaders, families, anybody that helped in their efforts to make that happen. Thank you. I know it's an incredible amount of work. And it's appreciated. This is our largest fundraiser of the entire year, and this funds a lot of our projects and scholarships that the council is able to give. So. Okay. We have one more item. We do have to select 2 clubs, 4 clubs for projects for financial audit. Who wants to draw out of the?
Rachel Morgan.
No, Rachel was voluntold.
It happens to me when I say by Tanya.
Okay. Drum roll, please. First one is making a difference, 4-H.
Horse lovers.
So second is horse lovers.
I didn't draw myself.
Oh, whichever one you dropped on the floor, that one got destroyed. This is mine. That one got bigger.
I believe they were at audit last year.
Audits.
That's
Have
random.
to be done.
I think horseshoes.
We want to have everything.
Horseshoes.
I'm sorry, who was the next, number 3?
High Point.
High Point is number 3. Thank you.
Come on, Mary, pick a good one. Not me, Mary, not me.
Colts and kitties.
Oh,
Yeah. Colts and kitties. Colts and kitties is number 4. So these 4 lucky winners will be receiving some correspondence from the 4-H council, but we do need to complete the audit by December 1st of this year. Okay, any questions?
Who's the first one? That drew.
Making.
Making
Uh,
it work.
Right, who was the second one that drew?
Horse lovers.
Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
do the 4 tags, so I know who the lucky ones were.
All right, Sharon is up next.
Making a difference, an audit difference. I was gonna say, that doesn't seem fair to do it 2 years.
No, it doesn't.
Making a difference. Kim, did you get audited last year?
I believe so.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
That's right here. February 10th, 2022. Actually, it was a little over a year ago.
Graham crackers.
Oh, of course.
Government is urbanized. Not since I've been running it.
But the others were audited last year.
All of you get to raise the money and I get to disperse a whole lot of it. Under adult grants this year, we sent Tanya to the Washington State Fair Association Conference. We sent 8 adults to archery training and archery, well, not archery, but let me say this. I can't say shooting, it's a public event, but anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Level 1 instructor training.
We have to be real careful what we call it. Level 1 instructor training. We had 8 different adults go and they all earned 1 or 2 certifications. In 4-H, you have to go through their training, which is an 8-hour plus an online plus a 4-hour for every discipline, that before you're allowed to be an instructor in 4-H for any of our shooting sports that aren't shooting sports, because we can't say that word. We are super excited that we have, we now have, of the 9 disciplines, in that we now have instructors for 7 of them. Or do we have 8? We have 8. Because we got black powder.
Yes, we have 8.
Okay, we have 8 of the 9 disciplines. We now have certified instructors in Pierce County for. So we're really excited. Now all we have to do is get the equipment. We only have equipment for 2 of those disciplines. We have some equipment for 2 others, but it's falling apart and we can't get it fixed. So they are looking at trying to raise money to buy equipment so we can add these other disciplines to our program. We also sent one coach to the national competition we will be sending in June. The shooting sports, this year we have 3 young men from our county representing Washington State, 3 of the 12. Heads up, next year we have 7 of the 17 are from Pierce County that qualified last weekend. And the council policy is for any youth that goes to a national event, we will pay their hotel and their portion of the rental car if they do a group rental car. Shooting sports is an 8-day event, where they have to have hotels for 8 nights. So it's a little more expensive than the horses that's only for 3. On the positive side, we granted the kids, what was it?
Over $800.
Over $800, but they said, we don't need that much, so they gave us back over half of it. They have raised money elsewhere, so we appreciate that. So our adult grants totaled $3,271.52 so far this year. Our project grant, shooting sports asked for $800 when they were trying to get air rifle equipment. They had to have grants from more than just one place to qualify for the grant that they were applying for. We allotted them an $800 grant to buy shooting mats, and they spent just a little over half of it. So they only spent $468.08. They have a record of returning money to us, that project. For youth, we had 1 go to Teen Rally. We had 3 that we are helping to go to nationals, and we had 6 that went to the GOAT Adventure Camp. So our youth grants totaled $2,075 this year. Left to go is our scholarships, which are due in June for seniors. And then I don't think there's anything else that we'll be sending out for grants this year. Any questions on grants? We need to get these horse kids back. This is the first year in I don't know how long we didn't have horse kids going to nationals.
Question about the goat grants. So I was the one that put that on, and you said there were 6 kids, but I only received money and information for 5. So maybe pardon?
The 6th grant went directly to the family because it was not part of the packet of applications I received.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Then I won't.
Confirm she got it too.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Presentations now.
Nominating.
Oh.
Okay, 4-H cancel nominations. So this coming, I guess, October, we're gonna have our fall leaders meeting in October, early October this year. We are gonna be nominating a new president because I'm the outgoing president. I've served 2 years. And then we also are going to be nominating a treasurer as well. Heather has been our treasurer for 2 years. She can rerun as well. You can hold the term twice. So if you are interested in being president, please let one of us know. Or treasurer. Oh, sorry, I kind of.
No, I will, I will let you know that, yes, I can, if you guys will have me another term. But if somebody feels so inclined.
Yes, so
Has a
Heather would like to continue to be treasurer again, but I cannot continue to be president. But I know, I am moving, but I will be back in June for fair next year. But we do need a new president for next year. So if anybody is interested in joining the 4-H Leaders Council, if you have questions, please let us know. We meet the third Thursday of the month at the 4-H office in Tacoma, which is right off of 38th and Pacific. And then we also host the teen rally, which is usually the first weekend in November, which is here at Almendinger.
Super Saturday.
Super Saturday is also a big thing that we're involved in,
Fundraiser.
and fundraiser, which is in April. So, I was hoping Shelley was going to jump on, but she's not here. So we'll come back to fair update, hopefully. I texted her. Yes.
We also have open positions for general,
Oh, yeah.
we
So
have others, so like I represent shooting sports for the county. There's dog department, there's open.
yeah, so we have open project positions as well. We have clover buds, dogs,
Team leaders.
team leaders, and livestock. So if you want to be a member at large and you just want to come and give like project updates as well, and be on the council, we have those positions open as well. So if you're not ready to jump right into president right away, but I mean, we all know what president does. We all have meetings, so. Next up, let's go to Cindy. Because we all need refreshers on poster making every year, because there's always stuff that's misspelled.
Or hyphens missing in 4-H.
Yes, and 4-H has hyphen in it.
Wait, there's a question in the chat while she's setting up
Okay.
about, why are we not allowed to say shooting sports? And is it really that we can't say it as 4-H leaders? And should we be rethinking how we describe that project?
This was the first I heard about it.
Oh, okay.
It came up at the Pierce County Volunteer Luncheon.
That's because it was the Pierce County.
So I wasn't sure if I was allowed here because this is a public.
Pierce County, they can.
Yeah. That's Pierce County government.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
Pierce
Pierce
County
County Fair, we have a large shooting sports banner, so the fair has one that says shooting sports.
sounds like it's not a 4-H issue, Tiffany.
Yeah, I think it's a government.
And I don't think the county executive and the county council chairman understand what our shooting sports is.
They just said that they couldn't say it from the podium because it was a televised event. Okay, we're not saying that we're going out hunting or level 3 offenders. That's just what I was told.
We do have deer
We
in
can
our
do that.
archery range though.
That's what
Ceasefire is all about, is when the deer come across.
Okay, it's me. So I'm sure that all of you have had kids, been a kid, done a poster, tried to advise on posters. And I am here to answer some questions, give some advice, encourage posters. We have done poster talks before. So as most of you know, there is no maximum size on a poster. However, please encourage your kids not to get crazy and stupid. We have to carry these and get these from one place to another. So a poster size is a good poster size. If you buy that piece of poster board at the dollar store or wherever you get it, that's a great size. There is a minimum. And generally, the minimum is half a poster sheet. That's as small as you can go. Again, encourage them that even though they can do that, maybe that's not the greatest thing to do, because if you're talking distance and the public seeing that poster, the smaller your size, the smaller the letter, and therefore the harder it is. And all of my judges are getting old. So we have eyesight issues. No, not all of them. Borders, I get questions every year about borders. Borders are suggested, but not required. And make your border, or have the kids make their border to fit the picture. If you are doing your small picture in the middle and your border is 5 inches big, maybe that's a little overkill on the border. So should fit the style and be a frame, a picture frame to encase their information. I was going over some of the posters that I have collected from my past 4-H clubs. In doing a recent move, my sister gave me a couple of her old 4-H posters. And she did a very lovely poster about an Appaloosa. And I was actually going to bring that tonight, but it escaped getting into my car somehow. She had all her words spelled correctly on this poster, and she got a blue ribbon, except she had, the Appaloosa has a thin mane, M-A-I-N. So although that's correctly spelled, it was incorrectly spelled for the situation. So spelling is so important for posters for kids, that remind them and remind them again and remind them yet again to have them check and mom check and the 4-H leaders check that spelling is really important. Get your apostrophes in the right place. It is all of those things that require, such as cats. We have cats, and then we have the cat's paw. Get that apostrophe in there. Don't forget that there is a hyphen in 4-H. When we greet kids at the door and check their poster in, Mike and I will often say, here's a pen, put that hyphen in your 4-H. Because that is a disqualification. We have to have them fix that. It is a legal way that 4-H is spelled. It's copyright, right? Yes, so.
Federally protected.
What's it?
Federally protected.
Okay, so it must be done that way. Hyphen between the 4 and the H. Let's see, what's another good reminder that we often get? If they are doing 4-H clovers on their poster, the clover must be represented as it is on your badge, as it is on all of your 4-H paperwork. H's go straight up and down, tail goes to the right, and it has to have the little RCW letters on it. If they just do clovers with no H's on it, I don't care. But if they're doing the 4-H clover to represent the 4-H logo emblem, it must be correct. Anybody have any questions, things that they've had a burning desire to know about posters?
What goes on the back?
What goes on the back? A lot of kids would say, you're supposed to put something on the back? You must have your name. And on the back of your poster, please put name, first and last name. On your tag, we'll fix that. You must have your club, your age, your year in school, your years in 4-H, and are you a junior, intermediate, senior, and have your club name on there. Now that can go on the back of your poster, that can go on a piece of paper that's filled out that you can print from 4-H online, no, fair entry. But that must be included with your poster. We'll make sure that gets taped on there.
Sources.
And sources.
References.
Or references.
Okay, you see? I'll just be sleeping over here for a while. Yes, and anytime that they have something on the front of their poster, they must have a source for it or a reference for it on the back. That should not be Wikipedia. That should not be something general as in, I heard it from, I had one person last year tell me common sense. That was their reference. So I need a little more than common sense. Had they said from my 4-H leader, Mrs. Larson, okay, that's a reference. But common sense and everybody should know it, not
There's no
necessarily.
reason to have it on a poster.
One of the, yes, one of the things that in my poster reference material stuff that I get kids do often is they'll start off with the, did you know? I'm not going to grade you down for putting did you know on the poster, but again, that's why we're doing the poster, so that I can convey information to you that you may not have known. Did you know is just kind of a waste of space that you could have used to fill in with more information. Sticking with, in general, one subject, one area, rather than tell me all of the parts of course activities that you can do. There's dressage and hunter jumper and all of this and all of that, and explain all of those parts. Pick one or two and put those on a poster and go into slight detail about those. Makes for a better poster because your general public is going to look at that poster between 5 to 10 seconds. So you have that amount of time for them to be grabbed and look at that information. They're going to get really bored with the whole subject, reading an entire poster board. Yes.
Why are posters due so much before the other still like entries?
That's actually a really good question. Why are posters due so much earlier? Posters are due earlier because they have to be judged, and occasionally that will take 2 full days to judge, depending on the amount of posters and the amount of judging. Then those posters have to be taken to, well, in the old days, we used to judge them at the 4-H office. Then they had to be taken to the fairgrounds, separated and sorted, and then handed back out at the superintendent meeting. And the superintendent meetings are always early, so that the superintendents can get their ribbons and then they take those posters so they can be put up in the barns. Now we take the posters directly to and judge them at the fairgrounds, but I still have potentially 2 days to judge, sorting, and then right after judging comes the superintendent meeting. Like, we generally judge on a Monday and the superintendent meeting is on Tuesday. And there have been times when we've been wrapping up that poster judging just until before the superintendents are coming. So it does make it hard for the kids to think early, but it's because of the redistribution of where they have to go.
I will say that as a superintendent, it's really challenging for me to try and find a place to transport and store the posters so they're not
Yes.
damaged. Like, I would rather not be given the posters until I'm setting up my building at fair.
Yeah. But what do I do with them? What do we do with
If
them?
they're judged in the
to keep them
fairgrounds, can
safe?
they stay on the fairgrounds?
They could stay on the fairgrounds, but at the same time, they are getting everything set up. We typically judge in the cat rabbit area. So they've got to get all the things that are stored in there out, set things up so that the fair is ready for the public to come in, for us to come in, to get our kids there, and still find a place to keep these that they're safe. So it's a juggling act, but I think that they would be more apt to harm if we left them at the fair.
Also, some of the posters are, when they're being judged, are missing something, or there's a small error. And if that's the case, they give them back to the superintendent with a note on them, so they can't fix them,
And if the kids
and
fix
then they
them,
can be
if
rejudged.
they want to, they can fix them and get them back to me before fair, and I could rejudge them so that they can be shown.
You had 2 questions.
Yeah, there's 2 questions in Zoom. The first one is, what is the day that volunteers are needed for poster judging this year?
I never know until,
It's the Monday after they're due.
It says the 17th.
Yeah.
okay,
Okay.
there we go.
The second question is, if posters were sorted as they were judged, would it take a step out of the process?
They are essentially sorted as they are judged. We judge them, they're put in a big stack. My judges will sit around the room. We'll hand them a stack of posters, whatever comes to them. As they finish with that judging, I try to get some 4-H youth to come and help us, and they will bring that poster from the judge up to our quality control person. The quality control person will go over, verify that the judge has entered the ribbon color, made remarks, whatever needs to be done. And then that same youth will put it in the stack of goat, horse, whatever. So we are doing it. It's just in going in a circle to get it done. Anybody else? Yes,
Is there online resources,
as in,
as in helpful kits for making posters?
you can find some online resources. Snoqualmie 4-H has some good information. There is some dated information other places, but a lot of the information that I teach on comes from a Snoqualmie site. Let's see if I actually have.
It's on, you can access that from,
Yes, we had that linked, but is that still?
no, it's from the leader resources from the state 4-H page. Isn't that it where you find it, Mike?
Pubs.wsu.edu.
Yeah.
Some of that doesn't get to where it should be.
It's like a 20-minute Zoom thing on there that's really good.
Here's another question about, is there a class that youth members can take to learn about poster making?
Super Saturday.
Super Saturday is good. Also know that if their club leader would like me to come out to a club meeting, I would be happy to do that. Bring examples, talk to them, show them more of my reference material, and let kids ask questions and do things at a club meeting if they would like. Okay.
Can I make a shameless plug for the crickets that are available?
Oh, thank you.
On general safety posters.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, general safety posters are a good thing. You may enter a maximum of 4 posters. 1 for every project that you're in, up to 2 or 3. You may enter 1 4-H poster, and you may enter 1 safety poster. However, if your poster says, when riding, wear a helmet, and you have a picture of a person on a horse wearing a helmet, that is a good poster. However, it's not a general safety poster, it's a horse poster. But if you have a poster that says, wear a helmet when riding, and you have a picture of a horse, a picture of a horse and cart, a picture of a motorcycle, and maybe a skateboard, that is a general safety poster because it says this covers more than just one project. So remember that if it is a safety project or a safety poster, it must be more than just project specific. And yes, thank you for remembering that. Go ahead.
So the Pierce County Council recently purchased how many crickets?
8.
8 crickets. So crickets are a paper die cut machine that can be used to cut out elements that go on your poster. Remember what was said about the titles? This will do that without you having to cut them out by hand. Do you have an example? I don't know if it's going to show up on here, but anybody that's here, there's a scrapbook that I brought with me that has a bunch of die cuts from the Cricut. So you can see what it does, but it cuts those letters out at whatever size you need, up to 12 inches tall by 12 inches wide and down to the size of a dime, that you can use for your poster, and you don't have to hand cut. And I mean, it's wonderful. There's training available. I put together some training materials that come with the Cricuts. You do have to check them out through the office. So email Mike or Shelley, and they can give you instructions. And if you need a tutorial, we can set something up and I can show you how to use it.
And don't we have laminator now too as well?
Yes.
And we also have a laminator that particularly for the horses or the goat kids people, if they would like your poster laminated, again, contact Mike or Shelley.
Actually, we have 2 days. 17th of June, from 10 to 2 at the office, we'll be laminating. And the 6th of July, I believe it is.
Okay.
From 6 to 8 at the fair office. at Frontier
Okay.
Park.
There we go.
6 to 8 PM, yes.
All right. Happy poster making.
If they're using die cuts, you have to make sure there's the right type of material, because last year, a lot of the die cut letters rubbed off. So it was,
Yeah, make sure that tell your kids to make sure that they really get their elements stuck on their poster. And
Especially the eyes. Dots on the eyes always fall off.
Which is where laminating can really help.
Jacob Arnold, dots on the eyes always fall off.
Sorry, Jacob Arnold. I'm just wondering.
Hey,
Josh,
Josh,
that's what can I
that's
share?
what
You share from that.
The H is diarrhea. And yeah, it's.
That's right.
Right.
Because Tanya's kind of bossy, just in case you didn't know. At the last leaders council or discussion, we were looking for topics and I said, I think I'd like to know more about fundraising. So I got assigned to talk to you all about fundraising, which didn't make me an expert, but Mike helped me by sending me some resources that I'll share with you that I actually probably had seen at some point, but didn't really realize existed. So I'm gonna just quickly try to share a little bit here on the screen, and hopefully this will work. So, is it working? It is. So the first thing that I think, first of all, I hate fundraising, just so you know, like it's not my favorite thing because I'm not good at asking people for money, but we have to do it sometimes and we need to be really thoughtful about how we do it because we are asking people for money, right? And so I think the most important thing for a successful fundraiser of any of them that we've run is how much work we do ahead of time to plan and make sure that we have kind of all the things thought through. So everyone has super clear expectations and understands what exactly we are doing the fundraiser for, what the parameters of the fundraiser are. And the most interesting one that I have encountered most recently in a different group is, when does it end? Because sometimes they're one day, but sometimes they last over a period of time. And if you don't have a real clear end date, people just kind of keep bringing things to you, and it's hard to sort of have a neat record keeping system. So the first thing that the 4-H book was really clear about is that we should really keep this to a minimum, and it really should be planned around a specific need or a philanthropic activity. I know Graham Crackers always donates some of their fundraiser to helping the kids on the giving trees. And so you really need to have a very specific plan for what the money is for. We've used it in our club for buying sweatshirts or swag or things for shows that we do for our kids. But the important thing is that everyone who's going to be involved in the show really or in the fundraiser really understands why they're participating, especially parents. I find that if they understand, they have an easier time kind of helping and promoting and participating. Like I mentioned, you should be discussing it beforehand, before decisions are made as a club. Parents really are important in that discussion. I found that I get really excited members who want to do a lot of stuff, but they get home and their mom and dad saying, no, we're not doing that. We're not showing up for that day. We've got other plans. And so it ends up becoming a very unexpected group of kids who you thought were going to be there and then are not there. The 4-H office, so I guess it's Mike and Brian, right, need to approve all fundraisers. And they also need to approve approaching companies for donations. And they want to know about that before the fundraiser, and they want to talk to you, about things ahead of time. So please make sure to include them in the fundraising approach and your planning. And then really important is that fundraising should not get in the way of learning, doing, having fun. It shouldn't become the focus of the club. Also, we found that it's interesting and it needs to be determined ahead of time if there's a buyout option. So if you're trying to raise a certain amount of money and you want everyone to participate, then do you have an option for a family to buy out if they don't want to sell candy bars? Can they just buy them out? So that's something to make sure people understand ahead of time, that it's determined if you're going to allow that and that everyone knows how that works. They should also predetermine what the expectations are, how the fundraiser is going to run, who's going to be collecting money, all the things. Like, I cannot emphasize enough that just making sure all of those things are figured out ahead of time, so you're not scrambling with a bunch of envelopes of quarters, and trying to make sure you keep track of them all. Those things should be clearly outlined in advance and in writing. And then the club should also determine if they need a fundraising committee or just a chairperson, or will the treasurer do all the stuff for it? And that should be assigned and figured out ahead of time. And the person who are in those roles should be clearly understanding what their responsibilities are in the process. Again, I added it twice because we don't want ever this to get in the way of all the fun things that we do in 4-H, and it really should not distract from our educational mission. Here's some musts that we found as I was looking through all of the documentation, is that we must adhere to any IRS regulations and our Washington state laws. And actually, there are laws about fundraising. There are a lot of them. And so if you don't know about them, I think that's where the 4-H office could help you, right? They are shaking their heads. But if you think that your fundraiser might be something that you need to know more about the laws around, I would make sure that you're talking to the 4-H office very early. It has to follow all of our 4-H policies, procedures, and financial requirements. And I think that kind of in Pierce County includes WC financial policies, because we're all part of the WC organization. And we must have careful record keeping and do all the reporting that is required by the state law and the 4-H office. So few musts that are kind of non-negotiables when you are doing fundraising. Some don't. Don't use the 4-H name or emblem in connection with a commercial product. So what that means is you can sell candy bars or you can sell popcorn, but you can't call it 4-H candy bars. If you're selling World's Finest Chocolate, these are World's Finest Chocolate and the proceeds are going to a 4-H club. But you wouldn't want to somehow associate 4-H with that commercial product. We don't have the authorization to do that. We shouldn't be really canvassing door to door for donations. That's strongly discouraged by the 4-H organization. And you shouldn't promise a tax receipt if there's an exchange of goods. So if they are purchasing something or getting a raffle ticket, then it's not actually a donation. They're getting something in exchange. And so it is unlikely, if they benefit from participation in your fundraiser, even just buy a candy bar, they are not likely tax exempt. But if you have a question about that, you should ask ahead of time. Donations, on the other hand, may be tax exempt, and that's where you would have to really make sure that you're communicating with the 4-H staff if there's any questionability, or the council. Raffles. Raffles are really popular and everyone likes to do them, but they're actually one of the more governed fundraisers in our state. And there's the Washington State Gambling Commission actually is over raffles, and there are some pretty tight rules about what you can and can't do in raffles. So I did find their webpage if anyone wants to look at it, but here's just a couple of things that I pulled out that I thought were kind of important to help you make a decision if you want to do a raffle or not. You can't actually ever offer more than 2 raffles a year as an organization. You can't have a gross revenue of a raffle of more than $5,000. You can, but you have to go get a license. I didn't quite say that right. And so if you don't want to have to be licensed for your raffle, then these are the requirements for staying under the licensing. If you offer a firearm as a prize, so I don't know if shooting sports would ever do something like that, but if you were to, it would require a license, so maybe stay away from that. This one was interesting. If you're conducting your raffle jointly with another nonprofit, you actually have to have a license, and that actually impacts some of us in some of the small animal world, because kids who show ARBA or who show with the ADGA, the American Dairy Goat Association, if you were at a show and you're trying to do a co-raffle, that would actually require a license. So there should be some thought about that ahead of time. And then you can't have any non-cash incentives for selling tickets. I don't fully know what the whole sphere of that is, but I think it's like you can't promise people extra things if they help you sell tickets. So there was a lot more. There's actually 2 pages of kind of guidelines about around raffles at the Gambling Commission website. So if you have questions, and the 4-H office is a good resource, and so is that website. If you plan to do a raffle, it becomes your responsibility to ensure that you have all those things figured out and that all the proper procedures are in place and that you're compliant with all the regulations, including, as I just learned, some record retention rules around raffle stuff that is different than other fundraising record retention rules. So it's kind of complicated. It can be done. Small raffles are probably very, very common and fine, but make sure you're doing that thing we talked about 2 slides ago and checking in and letting the 4-H office give you guidance if you are not sure. Okay. I gathered these from several of you and also from some past fundraisers that I've been involved with. These are just ideas. There's a million ideas out there. The real point of having kind of a refresher on fundraising is to bring it back to making sure that we're planning before we start executing. But you can do a refreshment or a baked goods stand at a show or other 4-H event. Rent a Kid is popular for outdoor barn chores. I have done that for cage cleaning before. I have done that. A walk or a bike-a-thon. A textile drive, I just heard somebody is doing that right now. That's kind of exciting. Candy, popcorn, there's a million commercial fundraisers that you can participate in. Sometimes those can be pretty complicated to organize, so be thoughtful about that preparing part if you're gonna do that. And sometimes, like we just did a candy bar sale with a different group that I belong with, and you have to prepay. So that required a lot of early effort. So make sure you understand kind of what all that is. And I found that when I bring it up with the kids before I know those things, sometimes we'll get a lot of energy around something and then I realize it's not actually logistically possible. So as a leader, you might want to make sure you've kind of figured out what options you want to present that you think your club can actually execute. The pop-up petting zoo has been something that was fun. Mike suggested a restaurant takeover. I'm seeing this more and more where like Applebee's or other places will let you come in and basically you work for the tips is what happens. And then I know that one club does the Christmas wrapping fundraiser at the mall. That's graham crackers.
And with that one though, you have to, especially the malls, they require Liability insurance. You just email Shelley, send it to WSU, and then they'll send it out to you. But they do require liability insurance.
That makes sense.
Doesn't cost us anything.
We actually had some kids do it, not at the mall, just with their friends and family, like I'll come wrap your presents for a donation. So, you know, if you have someone who's organized enough to kind of pull that all together and do that, it'd be a fun way to do a holiday fundraiser. But kind of the bottom line on fundraising is the most effective way to do it is just do it, just go do it and learn as you go. Did you have a question or a comment?
I have a comment. Bake sales are a good way to go. However, last time my club had a bake sale, we had someone who came from the health department, and everything had to be individually wrapped. And you had to display a sign that these were baked in a non-commercial kitchen.
Makes sense. Again, that's that free work. Like if you're gonna do that kind of fundraiser, you make sure you know all the things about the parameters of our laws and no one is gonna know all that stuff at the beginning. So use resources, Google, whatever.
County Health Department has a great site for bake sales.
Great.
And all the rules are outlined.
So there's a good resource.
Question, does the club get to keep all the money they raise?
No. 10% comes back to the 4-H organization. Leaders Council, sorry. The Leaders Council.
Which we greatly appreciate, thank you.
Which helps fund all those other things we talked about tonight, right? Any other questions or thoughts or comments? And also, you know, this is, and I know who said something is common sense. A lot of this is common sense, but sometimes it's nice to just have it all refreshed. Yep.
In order to do a fundraiser, you also need an EIN and you need a bank account.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have either one of those, then your club cannot handle funds.
What are you gonna do with the money? Yeah.
Another thing to look at is how much are you going to get to keep of your fundraising? Like a lot of your candy sales and stuff, sometimes in some of these goods, your organization only gets 25% of what's collected. And always make sure the kids know what they're raising money. Because
Very important.
I won't buy from a kid if they can't tell me what the money's for.
And that's why I started this off with like really knowing why we're doing it, even putting expectations in writing. It just cuts down on irritated kids or parents later because you conveyed and communicated. And I have learned, especially with my club, you can feel like you have communicated really, really well over and over and over again in front of every meeting. And there'll be someone who said, I didn't understand. So I put it, you know, in like a little flyer that says, here's what we're doing, just make sure you know. So anyway, that's pretty much for everything.
Are you sending that out?
I can, if you'd like me to. What was that, Mike?
I think there was something in the chat.
Oh. I'm the chat monitor, so I'm not seeing the chat right now, sorry.
No, I think it was.
It was just to be right back, it looks like. So
Oh.
that's okay. Anybody else have a question? Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's all me.
Mine's quick and I don't have a fancy PowerPoint, sorry. I'm gonna talk about 4-H in action. I actually volunteered to this one, I wasn't voluntold. So when we were discussing topics, this year I was in, I helped edit the exhibitor's guide for fair, and one of the things you get to do is read all of them. And you learn about all the things that are at fair that you didn't know about. And so one of the things that kind of caught my attention that I didn't know about was 4-H in action. And so I kind of just wanted to talk briefly about what 4-H in action is. And so basically 4-H in action is the youth demonstrating what they've learned. And another thing that sparked my interest is my daughter tried out for Royal Court, and the Royal Court, they Gotcha to a talent. And we had so many great talents shown. And one of the girls demonstrated how to decorate cupcakes. And I was like, that is a great 4-H in action. You know, she learned how to decorate cupcakes at Super Saturday, and then she was demonstrating it as her talent. So that is an example of 4-H in action. So 4-H in action is if you learn how to make a model rocket, then the members will demonstrate it to the public, and hopefully they will also get questions. So it's more of a question and answer. That's how it's different than public presentation. So public presentation, the members usually do a presentation and the judges ask them questions, but not necessarily the public. And so this year at County Fair, we're hoping to get more members doing 4-H in action. We have our small presentation stage where we do public presentations. We also have our kitchen that we usually utilize on Saturday. Sometimes we use it on Sunday. But we have all these little areas at Fair that we can use for 4-H in action. So if you have a member who wants to show the public how to decorate cupcakes, we can do a demonstration in the Grange building. If they want to, I think Cindy at Super Saturday showed the kids how to do macrame. So they can either do a demonstration and just purely demonstrate it and have everybody watch, or if they want to do a demonstration and have the public participate, they can also do like a little project type of thing. We have a question?
So for dogs in my club, our favorite thing to do was make dog toys out of fleece. And so we would stand there and interact with the public and have them make the dog toy, and we would help and instruct them how to do it.
Yeah, so dog
And it would
toys out of
just
fleece.
pop up in front of the dog barn.
Yeah, super easy. And so these are the kind of things that we want the kids to teach people what they've learned, and engage the public and answer questions like, you know, why are we using fleece? You know, why can we use rope? You know, that sort of thing. Can you use anything? Laura, do you have a question? Comment?
We had in the lodge, we have a lot of tables in the lodge, kids can do projects. And we had a kid who was teaching people how to do origami swans. We had them all lined up and he was making them, but he let the public make them too. We had someone who was she was cutting out a pattern. She took one of the big tables and took advantage of the space and cut out a pattern for her next project, and she could talk to the public about what she was doing. Loom knitting, that's an easy one we've had in there.
Yeah. So I just encourage you to ask the members of your club what they've learned and if they can teach the public, or maybe just do a small demonstration. And it doesn't have to be long. If it does need to be long, it can be long. That's the other great thing. You know, public presentations are usually limited time-wise, but these demonstrations can be, you know, 2 minutes, they can be 5 minutes, they can be 30 minutes.
Aren't they like 1 to 2 hour blocks?
They have to be 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah.
You have a minimum of 1 hour.
Yeah, they're one of the blocks. They have to sit at that spot and repeat.
Okay, I take it back. I didn't know that, sorry. Step and repeat, I guess, for an hour.
Like the presentation can be 15 minutes and you just.
And then you just do it over and over
times,
again.
yeah.
Yes. So if it takes you a little amount of time. But we were also talking about trying to fill the kitchen space. So that one may not be hands-on, but it could be something that they demonstrate. So that's my little, very short spiel, because I know we're running out of time here.
And there's something in the chat for me.
Something in the chat.
Do paid people still have to be in here? I went to the bathroom, so I don't know if I'm good to go or not.
We're almost done.
We're almost done. We're almost done, Amy, I promise. Real quick before I hand it back over to Mike, Shelley cannot make it tonight from Shelley Bennett from the fair. So I told her I would just do a really quick update for everybody. Just going over our, I guess from our last board meeting, she wanted me to just update everybody. The repairs for the poultry barn are in play. Everything's been approved. So the poultry barn is getting all fixed up. They are looking to add security, on the grounds on off season. So hopefully we can get something taken care of. The Grange is making some ADA modifications if you help out in the Grange, to make things a little bit lower. There is a, hold on, where did it go? 4th of July parade. We are going to be doing a 4th of July parade in either Roy or Eatonville, and they're looking for animal groups to bring animals. So if you're interested in that, let Shelley Bennett at Pierce County Fair know.
And where is that?
It's either gonna be Roy or Eatonville. They haven't decided on a location yet, on which one they're gonna partake in.
And they're both at the same time.
Yeah, so it'll be one or the other, not both. And then we have 15 new display cases. So if you have display cases in your area, at the fair at all, and would like to help clean some, July 15th or 22nd, you can come out to the fairgrounds and help clean some display cases, because everybody's gonna get new display cases. So, that's my quick fair update. And Shelley said, if you have questions about the fair, please feel free to email her, but she's gonna set up a Zoom call.
Isn't it tomorrow morning is planting flowers?
Oh, yes, so tomorrow morning they are planting flowers on the fairgrounds. If you see flowers on sale, they would love to have them, because they're beautifying the fairgrounds right now. So they'll drop some off on our way here, so.
And other maintenance-free type plants.
Yes,
So.
hardy plants, they need here, hardy
Not
plants.
roses.
Yeah.
That's not maintenance-free.
All right, back to Mike.
One other update for the fair, actually two more. One is, it looks like we probably won't have a carnival again this year. They're still not able to get one. The one we use, can't find workers. So they're not doing their Washington routes. So hopefully they can get that settled in the next few years. But we are not the only fair that is impacted by this. We're just the only one in this general area. My notes here. Okay, the last topic before we get to other is recruiting. If your kids need to change clubs or add projects, they have to contact the office. So if the kids contact me, if they're adults, contact Shelley. We can add them, we generally don't take them off. But we do add them. It's like 30 seconds to do it, so it's not a hard thing. We just need to know you need it. The important thing about that is fair entry is very project specific. If they're doing photography and want to enter a photograph in the fair, if they don't have photography listed as one of their projects, fair entry will not let them put it in. They can go and open, yeah.
Or animal project.
Or in the animal project, as long as they're in that project. So they have to be in the project to be in that area, that department. So. And most of our clubs now offer photography, so it's not a hard thing. If you have a kid contact you and said, I can't enter my dogs or anything, chances are they're not in the project. And you can go into 4-H online as a leader, pull down your roster. On the roster, there's 2 tabs. The first one is the roster itself with all the contact information. The second tab is all the projects that all the kids are entered in. So if you pull up that tab and they're not listed in photography, let me know, we can add them to photography. That's not a big deal. So they just need to contact us. The system will shut off on July 31st. So we can't add anybody, we can't change anything after July 31st. it shuts down for rollover. So the state office can do all the stuff they need to do. And it does take 2 months just to get the rollover to happen. There's a lot of little buttons she has to push. But it will open again for the next year on October 1st. Clubs need to be in contact with their kids during the summer. They've done a study of why kids have left 4-H. And one of the biggest things they found was clubs were not communicating. So it's easy, just do an email on July 20th, or whatever that Wednesday is. If you're on an animal club, just remind them that their animals or their entries are due in fair entry the next day. And it's they have to post by 10 o'clock. If they don't post by 10 o'clock or submit by 10 o'clock, it will shut down on them. So we keep saying 9:59. So just be good on that. At the fair, we will be doing, last year we did ice cream socials for all the departments that are actually at the fair. That got a little messy. Ice cream in 90-degree weather is not a good thing. So this year we're going to switch to Otter Pops. Otter Pops will start in the Rabbit Barn frozen. They may become slushies by the time we get to you. But even then, they're basically Kool-Aid. So, and kids, as long as they're cool, the kids will like it. So, at the Otter Pop socials, we basically promote re-enrolling early. We also encourage bring a friend. So we encourage them to bring a friend to 4-H in the fall when they come back. So we can grow our program. So there's that. We're going to try and do an incentive. We just have to figure out what the incentive is going to be. Last year we did hats. We've already been told no hats and no water bottles. That was from the council, so.
Kids don't want them.
Yeah. We may think they're great, but kids may have 5 of them already that they're not using. If you want to talk to your kids and they have a great idea, just email me and I'll pass it on to the council. But please do it before the 3rd Thursday of June, because that's when the next council meeting is, and we'll need to get stuff ordered by then. Also, we want all of the clubs to participate in one or both of the info fairs. This year, the Southern Info Fair is not on the Bethel Day. So I forgot what Bethel Day is called. ABC. That all Bethel celebrates or something like that. But this year, it's the year before because it's September 30th. And their date is always the first Saturday in October. So September 30th will either be at Frontier Park, or I'm going to talk to Wilco in Spanaway to see if we can get part of their parking lot. So we can get a little more visibility to the general public.
Tractor Supply.
Tractors, that's it, Tractor Supply, sorry. Yeah. So we want to be down there. The reason we're down there is that's where a majority of our clubs are in that area. And then on October 7th, we'll be at the 4-H office again. We may be in the parking lot for that one because our building is being renovated. And for a while, our big conference room is going to become the front desk. So it's that. And then the last thing on recruiting is we'd like to encourage all of the clubs to do a fall recruitment event for their club. And we can provide you flyers with that. We do have some Peach Star credits left, so we can kind of help advertise your project for that. Just let me know.
Say October 7th.
The second one is October 7th, the first Saturday in October, which is also the Bethel Day.
The first one was September 30th.
September 30th, at either Frontier Park or Tractor Supply, right on Pacific. And then encourage all of your youth to re-enroll early. The system opens on October 1st. After like the middle of November, they should all be re-enrolled or they shouldn't be coming to meetings. Same with the adults. The adults have to be recertified every single year, same as everyone else. And some of them will have to do background checks again. Background checks are only good for 3 years. So background checks are not that hard to do. So any questions on recruiting? Yes,
Clubs, is it 2 families and 5 kids, or what's that requirement?
it's 5 kids, 3 families.
3 families.
Yeah. To start a new club. Or to keep a current club going, we need that. Sometimes we fudge that up to a certain point. And year-end paperwork is due on October 1st. You'll be getting those in the mail in September. I will have copies here at the Fall Leaders Meeting, which will be in this room on October 5th at 7 o'clock. So that needs to be in. If it goes into January, your club will be what we call not in good standing. And after that point, they should not be meeting.
It's due when, October 1st, you said?
December 1st.
Oh, okay, he said.
Oh, sorry.
I was like.
Yeah. December 1st. If your club is being audited, we need your year-end financial on December 1st. We need your audit packet by December 31st. And then those audits are done in January.
And it cannot be emailed to us.
Please don't email it. It makes it a lot harder to do.
We need the receipts and all that stuff cannot be emailed.
And the clubs that are being audited will be getting an email saying what you need. So you have a half a year, actually more than a half a year to get your books in order. And remember that meeting minutes are very important. They are a legal document. If anything is spent outside of your budget, which is approved every year, which has to be minuted, you have to have a motion from the kids, it has to pass, and it has to be minuted. If it's not in the minutes, it can't happen. So, do we have anybody here from Horse Lovers in the room? Sorry. Is there anybody here from Horse Crazy? Okay, I have some a bad for you. Sort of here. Is anybody here from Barn Buddies or no Lisa Doyle?
I know her.
Or we'll be seeing them.
She's not.
I know. I have her certificate for her adult award. And then the other one is Amy Miller, who's also on the Zoom, but up on the hill. And do we have a horse board member here? I have the, something from BDC.
Thanks, Stacy.
Oh, is that what that is?
Thanks, Mary. That's so exciting. It's
Okay, that's all I have.
so exciting.
Anything else for the good of the order?
I am, I'm taking 13 kids over to state livestock edging.
Yay.
We have 2 teams of intermediates one team of juniors and 2 individual seniors. So I just want everyone to know that next year I'm gonna push harder to actually have some more county teams. I'm willing to be a county coach.
We should ask for some funding.
I
think you need to be on the
Well,
council.
and-
I think you need to be the livestock representative.
Actually, I was just about to announce that. Tanya, meet the livestock.
And then, and it's a little ways off, but at Super Saturday next year, I would love to do a livestock evaluation class, so. Something that put out there. But,
We would
yeah,
love to have you. That's-
We can get more, if more kids are interested countywide in livestock education, we'll utilize the rabbit bar next year, do some practice classes, teach them more reasons, teach them evaluation. I can boast a little bit, my daughter did really well and won a belt buckle at Spring Fair. Beat out some seniors actually, which was really cool, so. That's a potential. She did the teenagers, she was excited.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order?
Was there gonna be a Tiny Animal Leaders fundraiser show in June?
Yes, June 10th.
June 10th.
The flyer is in Tuesday news.
Okay. At the Rabbit Barn?
Yes, and it'll be going out in the June newsletter. It should be going out in next week. Okay, and just a poll in the room. How many of you missed pizza tonight? Having pizza? Okay. Yeah, trying to do it, yes. So with that, Tanya, if you want to adjourn us.
Meeting adjourned.
So the livestock judging is just live and.
Is that Anthony that just volunteered?
Just one, Tony.
Live animal.
When I was.
Thank you, those of you in Zoom land.
It's not leaving outside, so it's land.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
See you Tuesday.
Very excited that I heard that, 4-H got good reviews.
Right now, well, we got, since it's kind of short notice.
The Health Kids Day, because of why?
I'm doing 3 Wednesdays at my house.
Twice down.
Yeah, so, you know, they're welcome to come out.
Yeah, and I mean, because they were looking for organizations that had to promoting health for kids. And my daughter said, 4-H does that. I'll ask my mom.
So what I told them, so here's the hard part about the state contest is they moved it to.
We just heard that we have one of them.
So,